Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To our fellow brothers and sisters and children of the community, welcome to another episode of our Angels of Allah. The angels of Allah are the creation of Allah. Not only are they a creation, but they are a creation that we as Muslims need to believe in order to be complete Muslims. So, inshallah, today, as we are going deeper into our journey of understanding these angels, we will be looking at the angels that we've discussed already from an entirely new perspective. And inshallah, we are going to have greater insight and in result greater appreciation for this creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Keep in mind, Allah is the one who made the mountains, He made the trees, He made the rivers, but He did not make it incumbent on us to believe in them. We don't believe in the mountains, we know they're Allah's creation. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it part and parcel of our faith to believe in who? The angels. So that is why we're doing this topic, my fellow brothers and sisters, because there's great depth in this topic. And there is so much shallowness in my understanding as to how important angels truly are. So, inshallah, we will collectively, it is time for Asr prayer, we will collectively embark and continue this journey to enlighten ourselves as to who the angels are. So without further ado, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawala. Amma ba'd, Rabbi yassir, wa la tu'assir, wa tamim bil khayri, wa bika nasta'inu ya fatah. Rabbi shrah li sadri, wa yassir li amri, wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma, wa alhiqni bis salihin. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana. إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. So I'm just gonna hook up Facebook, and I know I don't do this on Facebook, but since it was advertised that we're doing this both live on Facebook and on mashallah YouTube, we have just looped Facebook into this class. So as we move forward, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. For those who just joined us on Facebook, I'll be looking up because the YouTube channel is above and I am live streaming with them. But inshallah, we will be able to interact periodically. We are going to discuss today, inshallah, Jibreel alayhi salam. Jibreel alayhi salam, we already discussed him. Yes, we did. But we're going to go more deeper into understanding his greatness and what his purpose is. And if his purpose is finished, why is he still around? For many of us know that Jibreel alayhi salam is the angel of communication to the prophets. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon all of them. Jibreel alayhi salam would continue to communicate from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the messengers. Now that we know that there are no more messengers to come, I'm sorry for that. So why is Jibreel alayhi salam around? Well, let's understand that. There are several accounts of the way the revelation started to come to the Messenger of Allah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him. Imam Muslim has transmitted in his Sahih from Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri, who said that Urwa ibn Zubayr radiallahu anhu related to him that Aisha radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, the beginnings of revelation to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took place in the form of dreams. So our mother, Aisha radiallahu anha, is giving a history as to how revelations occurred. She's giving us an overview of how this connection between Allah and the Prophet ﷺ evolved over time. So she says revelation first took the form of true dreams. Whenever he had a kind of dream, it was something clear like the break of day. Then he was made to love going into retreat and used to retire to the cave of Hira, when he would devote himself, where he would devote himself to the worship of Allah alone, continuing in this worship for a number of nights until he felt inclined to return to his family. He would take provisions for his stay. Then he would return to Khadija radiallahu anha to restock with provisions and do the same again. This lasted until the truth came to him while he was in the cave of Hira. Jibril alayhi salam came to him and said, Iqra, read. He said, Ma ana biqarin, I can't read. The Prophet ﷺ said, he seized me and squeezed me until all the strength went out of me, and then released me, and he said, read. And I said, I cannot read. Then he squeezed me again a second time until all the strength went out of me, and then he released me. Then he seized me and squeezed me a third time, and then he released me and said, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم. Read in the name of your Lord who has created man from a blood clot. Read, and your Lord is the most gracious. She went on, then the Messenger of Allah وسلم, returned with that. His heart was quaking. He came to Khadija radiallahu anha and said, wrap me up. Zammiluni, dathiruni. They wrapped him up until the state of terror had left him, and he said, Oh Khadija, what is wrong with me? And he told Khadija what happened, and he said, I am afraid for myself. Khadija said to him, no, by Allah, Allah would never bring disgrace upon you. You maintain ties of kinship. You speak the truth, bear people's burdens, you help the destitute, you give hospitality to your guests, and help those who have been afflicted by calamities. Khadija then went to her cousin Waraqa ibn Nawfal ibn al-Asad ibn Abdul Uzza, who had become Christian during the time of ignorance. He could write Hebrew, and he had written it in as much of the evangel as Allah willed. He was an old man who had gone blind. Khadija radiallahu anha said, Cousin, listen to your nephew. Waraqa said to him, Nephew, what is it that you have seen? The Prophet ﷺ told him what he's seen. Waraqa said to him, This is Namus, which was sent to Musa. May Allah bless him and grant him peace. I wish that I was still young. I hope I will be still alive when your people drive you out. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, Will they drive me out? He said, Yes. No man has brought anything similar to what you have brought without being treated with hostility. If I am still alive on that day, I will give you support. Let's stop here. This is a very deep story. What are the few things we've learned here, fellow listeners? Number one, we're learning that Jibreel alayhi salam came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam after he was seeing real dreams. So Aisha radiallahu anha, who was not there, she did not witness, but she is giving an account as to what transpired. That means the account that she is giving is, of course, from a very valid source, and there's no other source more valid than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so when she says that he used to start seeing these dreams, and these dreams were so true, like the break of dawn, as the light in the horizon is clear without doubt, without dispute, the dreams that our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw before he became a prophet were as clear as the light of day. And he wasn't a prophet then. He wasn't declared to be the prophet at that moment. Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose him as Allah chose the prophets, alayhi salatu wasalam. He was chosen, but his nubuwah started after. And so when he started seeing these dreams, and those dreams were so real, he felt that he needed to seclude from the society in order for whatever he's experiencing to come out fully and for him to comprehend and grasp it. So that's what he did. He went off to this cave, the cave of Hira, in the mountain of light. And subhanAllah, first he would just go there and come back, and then he was going for prolonged periods of time. Alhamdulillah, with Allah's blessing, and alhamdulillah, may Allah take all of us, inshallah, and all of us this year, ameen. Last year during Hajj, I went up right before the morning of Hajj, and of course it's a steep climb, and it's a long journey up, but then also getting to the mouth of the cave is very tricky, because you can't just get up there and go inside. You have to go around and go above and come back below, because it's like a camel hump on the top of it, and it's not much space in there. But Rasulullah ﷺ would go up there for days at a time, sometimes weeks. And then he would come back down, grab some food and whatever else he needed from Khadija radiallahu anha, his wife, and he would go back up. And so she gave him the space to understand this because she knew something was on his mind. And now, while he was up in that mountain in the cave, during one of these many episodes where he was going, he met Jibril alayhi salam. And Jibril alayhi salam squeezed him. Imagine the first interaction you have with someone and they punch you in the face or they squeeze you or you'll be like, I don't want to know this person. Why did this person do this to me? I don't even know who they are. So it leaves this image in your mind of fear. Jibril Isam is coming and squeezing the Prophet ﷺ. Now, this isn't a man. This is not Jibril Isam in the form of a human. This is Jibril Isam. And he told him 3 times to read, and he said, I cannot read. And then he said, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, in the name of your Lord who created you. That was the first revelation he got. So the first thing we're learning from this story is that the Prophet ﷺ saw true dreams, and those were declared to be revelations before even the time of Jibril Islam coming to him. Of course, those revelations were preparing him for the grand revelation to propagate the message. That wasn't the Quran, that was a preparation. And so now he comes running down and he goes to his wife and he's literally shaking to death. We know when people say I'm shaking to death, I'm freezing to death. He was shaking to death and he was saying, Zammiluni, dathiruni, laqad khashitu ala nafsi. Cover me up, hold me tight. I think I'm dying. I'm fearing for myself. And so she gave him comfort. And what did she say? Radiallahu anha, our mother, what did she say? Allah won't harm you. Remember, Islam was just starting. Khadija radiallahu anha is not yet a Muslim. Rasulullah sallallahu himself has not understood what just transpired. You know, business can open, but it takes time for the business to get recognized and people to realize and for it to gain clout. This door just creaked open. It didn't even open yet, just creaked open a bit. What's happening here? So what did she say to him, radiallahu anha? And I want you and I to take this. Because remember one thing, if you're doing good in life, Allah will never, ever, ever do wrong with you. What did she say? Subhanallah. Let's read those words again. She said, by Allah, Allah will never disgrace you. You maintain ties of kinship. How could Allah disgrace one who's trying to build and hold the ties of blood relation? How would Allah disgrace that person? She said, you speak the truth. Inna Allaha ma'as sadiqeen is what we learn in the Quran after the revelation of the Quran, that verily Allah is with those who speak the truth. So she said something which was understood even in the darkest days of ignorance, that a person who has these qualities and traits in them can never be harmed by Allah. Rather, they are an honorable figure representing Allah on this earth. She said, you maintain the ties of kinship, you speak the truth, you bear people's burdens. Whoever helps their brother, Allah will help them till the day of judgment. Subhanallah. Man kana fi hajat Man kana fi hajati akhihi kana Allahu fi hajati. The Prophet ﷺ told us, whoever helps their Muslim brethren, Allah will be there to help them. All the traditions of the Prophet ﷺ and the verses of Quran are actually collaborating with what Khadija radiallahu anha said. She said, you help the destitute, you give hospitality to your guest, and you help those who have been afflicted by calamities. My dear brothers and sisters, we're not going to become prophets by doing these things, but we are going to become dear to Allah because of these things. There are moments in life where you can do 2 things. Either you can do what Qiyamah is all about, nafsi nafsi, I care about myself, or you can throw yourself down and you could go care about others. When you care about others, Allah will take care of you. Remember my words on this, my fellow brothers and sisters and fellow children. Take care of people, and I swear by Allah, Allah's going to take care of you. Take care of yourself, you'll take care of yourself. You try to take care of yourself and you will take care of yourself. In that scenario, you may get what you need, but you will not get Allah's abilities and Allah's powers to take care of you. So the choice is ours. And so she took him to Waraqa bin Nawfal, her cousin, who was blind, who became a Christian, who knew Hebrew. And when he heard this incident, he said that, you're the chosen one, you're the prophet. But he also told the Prophet ﷺ, be ready that your people are going to throw you out. The the level of hostility that people will always present to the truth will last till day of judgment. The Prophet ﷺ saw the brunt of the storm, and anyone who tries to uphold and live that goodness will always face a storm. Religion isn't a walk in the park. Religion is sailing rough seas and high tides in the middle of an ocean storm. You have to get through it. And Allah's giving you the vessel, which is Islam, that will not break. It will get you through it. The question is, will you break? Will I break? Will we stay afloat or will we jump? That's up to us. So again, we're not going into the Sira because we do have a Sira class on Wednesday mornings or Wednesday noon at 12. But right now, we're going to understand Jibril alayhi salam, his grandeur, his greatness. Who is this Jibril alayhi salam and what is he truly able to do? I'm just switching to Facebook here. Alhamdulillah, we have no comments. That's great. We're going to continue here. The words, the name. So now remember one thing. Waraqa bin Nawfal said namus. What's namus? The words, this is the namus, which was sent to Musa, refers to Jibril alayhi salam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him peace. The people of language and uh, rare hadith say that linguistically the namus is someone who sorry, is someone with a good secret, and that jasus is someone with an evil secret. It's just like the difference between hasad and ghibda. Hasad means jealousy. Jealousy means I should have. If I don't have, you should have. You should not have it. Like you want someone to lose something just because you don't have it. And the ghibda is where you wish you had something that someone else has, and even though you cannot get it or you may not get it, you don't wish ill on the person who has it. So jasus, spying, is about keeping evil secrets, where namus is someone who keeps good secrets. So Jibril Islam is not like a spy or something. Jasus is also a word used in Urdu, but it means that someone who holds good secrets. Scholars agree that Jibril alayhi salam is called the Namus, and they agree that he is the one who is meant here. Imam al-Harawi rahimahullah said he is called that because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala singled him out for the unseen and revelation. Imam Bukhari transmitted with an isnad from Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu ta'ala in a hadith speaking about the time when there was an interval in the revelation. Now remember, the revelation came first, and then there was a period that it was like a timeout. There was no revelation. That the Prophet ﷺ said, while I was walking outside, I suddenly heard a voice from heaven. I raised my eyes, and there was the same angel who had come to me in the cave of Hira. He was sitting on a chair between the heaven and the earth. I was afraid of him. Remember, I told you that in the beginning. If someone squeezes you, kicks you, whatever the first time or punches you, you're not gonna have a good impression. They say first impression, last impression. So that was the first impression, and of course it wasn't the best impression. So Jibril alayhi salam kind of put a strong impression on the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And of course, as time went on, they became very close to each other. But this hadith is telling us the second time he saw him. This is the second interaction. Again, I was outside walking and I suddenly heard a voice from heaven. I raised my eyes and there was the same angel who came to me at Hira. He was sitting on a chair between heaven and earth. I was afraid of him and returned home and said, wrap me up, wrap me up. Then Allah sent down, O you shrouded in your mantle, arise and warn. Ya ayyuhal muddathir, qum fa'andir. The verse of the Quran in the 29th juz, Surah Muddathir, Allah revealed to him, Ya ayyuhal muddathir, O you shrouded in this mantle, qum fa'andir, get up, arise, and go warn the people. The time has come that you have to go and take the message of Allah to people. Now, one second here. How many years did the Prophet ﷺ study in Medina University or Makkah University to become a scholar? Anyone? It's only been like 3 months. Fatratam min al-wahy. This fatra of wahy was only a few months. What is he going to go tell the people? What is he going to go tell the people? That's a question, right? The same thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared him to tell people. His concern, what was the concern of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Why is humanity like this? Why are they lewd? Why are they nude? Why are they killing? Why are they stealing? Why are they robbing? Why are they murdering? Why are they burying their daughters alive? Why are they superstitious? Why is their religion about all these idols and not just Allah alone? These were concerns, valid concerns in his head all along. These were concerns that were stabbing him in the heart with pain so much. That is why he used to retreat to the mountain to gain some type of understanding of how he can address this. He had a desire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided his desire and made this deen Islam solution for humanity. So what is Islam? Islam is a solution to humanity. And who are we? We are Muslims. Our job to be the solution makers for humanity. How? With whatever we know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed those verses to him and said, get up and go and warn the people. And then Allah said, وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ وَالرُّجْزَ فَهْجُرْ. 5 verses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, glorify your Lord, call on your Lord, praise your Lord. وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, keep your clothes clean. وَالرُّجْزَ فَهْجُرْ, and stay away from uncleanliness. In the second revelation to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's told to say Allahu Akbar and glorify Allah. He's told to keep his clothing clean. My brothers and sisters, part of our religion, again, we're veering off from the topic of angels, but it's a very important topic. Our cleanliness isn't how good we smell, it's the purity of those clothing. So make sure those clothing are clean. وَالرُّجْزَ فَهْجُرْ, stay away from uncleanliness. And those are topics of discussion that we learn in fiqh and everything else, alhamdulillah. After that, the revelations became continuous. So there was Iqra, then there was a gap. Then there was this verse, this surah, Mudaththir, 5 verses, and then revelation continued to come accordingly thereafter without cease. And so the fact that Rasulullah in this hadith in Bukhari Sharif says that was the same angel I saw in the cave goes to prove the point that's being made that Jibreel alayhi salam is the same angel known as Namus. Now remember, we're still talking about what? What Aisha radiallahu anha is telling us. How revelations occurred throughout time to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So number one was dreams. Number two was, the voice that he heard. That was number three, the voice he heard. Number two was Jibreel alayhi salam coming and squeezing him. Let's move on. She states, radiallahu anha, sometimes it comes to him, this is from the hadith, he says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sometimes it comes to me like the ringing of a bell. And this is the hardest one on me, which then leaves me after I have fully understood and retained what was said. Sometimes the angel comes to me in the form of a man and speaks to me, and I retain what he says. So now we've learned a few more scenarios where there's like a silsilatul jars, the ringing of a bell. You know how you hear those bells? Not the bells that's on the desk that you ring when you're looking for someone front desk staff. A bell, a ringing bell. That silsilatul jars, that ringing bell was one of the ways revelation was coming to him. But that was the hardest one, and we'll find out why, inshallah. Beyond that, an angel, meaning Jibreel would come in human form and convey the message, and he sallallahu would understand and retain that message, and that was also wahi. Aisha radiallahu anha said, I saw him when the revelation was descending on him on a very cold day, and when it left him, his brow was dripping with perspiration. So it's a cold day, and this revelation came in the form that the Prophet ﷺ is alluding to, which was the ringing of a bell. And it was so tough on him that when the revelation had completed the transmission, there was sweat on his eyebrows. It was coming down, and it was gathering on his eyebrows and going down. So in a cold day, he was sweating. This was part of the process. Now, one of the things I've always dwelled on is, Why was it so tough for revelation? It's like Amazon, they deliver and they leave you, they send you a message and they show you a picture that the box is in front of your door. It's so seamless and easy. You don't even know who brought it to you, but you know your package is there. You could track your Grubhub from the time it is cooked to the time it leaves, to the time it gets to your front door. Seamless transition through technology. Why was Wahi so hard, my brothers and sisters? Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us about the effort that entails for you and I to grasp the same. The deen of Islam isn't just words. It's not just you learn a whole bunch of words and you sit in your pajamas or your shorts on the sofa and you read a book. It's not like that. It's something much deeper. There's an inner feeling and drive of our religion that goes beyond the words and it emits from the words itself. But if we cannot comprehend that, my fellow Muslims will never ever be able to understand the value of this strenuous transition that occurred to our Prophet ﷺ, and then from his demeanor he sent it to us, and from him he sent it. See how deen spread was from the breast of the Prophet ﷺ to the breast of the Sahabas. It was physical transition. It was in person that they were transmitting the religion. They were incorporating the religion. They were handing it off. They were passing the baton per se. And so for all of us, we have to understand Islam isn't just a compilation of books and words, all good when you have them, but again, it's a deeper part that comes through effort and sacrifice. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah said that there were 7 ways that revelation came. Let's learn about these 7 ways. Number 1, the first was a true dream. We talked about that. This was the beginning of revelation to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whenever he had this kind of dream, it was like clear break of day. We've learned that. Number 2, there was also the angel imparted to his soul and heart without him seeing him. Sometimes the angel will come and put it into him without him knowing. As a Prophet ﷺ said, the spirit of purity imparted to my heart that no self dies until its provision is complete. So fear Allah and be moderate in asking. Do not let delay of provision move you to seek it by disobeying Allah. What is with Allah is only obtained by obeying Him. So, subhanAllah, this is a hadith, a teaching from the Prophet, ﷺ, but in it he teaches us another way that the wahi and revelation was transmitted. As he said, the angel imparted to his soul, the spirit imparted to my heart that no self dies. So it was put into his heart and he was not able to even see the angel at that time. And subhanAllah, the hadith is very strong. If there's ever a delay in your sustenance and risk, my fellow Muslims, do not feel by doing what's wrong and immoral, and sin will bring your sustenance. Sustenance is not money, sustenance is not items or materialistic means. Sustenance is something that comes from Allah. And it's beyond the dollar, and it's beyond the means that we assume to be our sustenance. The third was the angel used to take on the form of a man. We just learned that also for the Prophet ﷺ and speak to him so that he remembered what he said to him. It is in this form that the companions used to sometimes see him. We also learned that a little over 2 months before the Prophet ﷺ passed, Hadith Jibril occurred where this man came as a traveler and he was white with beautiful clothing, didn't look like a traveler, but we never saw him. He sat with the Prophet ﷺ, put his hands on his thighs and put his knees against his knees and said, "What is Islam? What is Iman?" We've heard this hadith, mashallah. This was something the Sahabas witnessed. Number 4, the revelation. Revelation used to also come to him like the ringing of the bell. This was the hardest for him. This was the hardest for him. The angels would make it so difficult for him that his brow would drip with perspiration. Again, we're just Ibn Qayyim rahimullah is putting Aisha radiallahu anha's words and others into perspective. So we're going to get it laid out one by one. The angel would make it so difficult for him that his brow would drip with perspiration on even a very cold day, and his camel would be forced into kneeling on the ground when he was riding it. On one occasion, revelation came like that when when his thigh was resting on the thigh of Zayd bin Thabit radiallahu anhu, and it became so heavy that it nearly broke Zayd radiallahu anhu's thigh. Let me explain this. When that type of revelation occurred, the ringing of the bell, the Prophet ﷺ gained so much pressure. It's like a person holding like 200-300 pounds of weight. They're sweating, right? It was pressure. That pressure was also observed that when he was on a camel traveling and that type of revelation came, the camel would sit down. That's how much pressure came on the camel. You know how much weight a camel can hold? And this weight was beyond that weight that the camel had to sit down. And a third example of how strenuous it was is that once that the thigh of the Prophet ﷺ was resting on the thigh of Zayd bin Thabit, and that revelation came, and the pressure that came on his thigh, on his whole body, was such that it was almost as if Zayd radiallahu anhu's thigh was gonna break. That's how much pressure there was. The fifth was that he saw the angel in his true form, and he would reveal to him whatever Allah wished to reveal to him. This occurred twice to the Prophet ﷺ, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Najm. The Prophet ﷺ saw Jibreel alayhi in his true form. How many times, everyone? Twice. Again, how many times, everybody? Twice, yes. Jibreel alayhi was seen in his true form. Let me just switch to Facebook and see if everyone's good here. Any comments? Wa alaikum salam there. We're great. MashaAllah, everyone's here. Great. Number 6. The 6 was when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed things to him directly, such as the obligation of the prayer and other things when he was above in the heavens during the night journey. SubhanAllah, this is again, when you're putting in perspective, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly gave him that revelation, which was during the Isra and Mi'raj, when he went up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he went beyond the low tree, and he spoke with Allah, and he was close to Allah like 2 handspan. 2 handspan, he was close to Allah. Isn't that a beautiful thing to just think about, that our Prophet ﷺ was so close to Allah? Musa ﷺ spoke to Allah, but that close proximity in that place at that level was only gifted to our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So that was the 6th way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, which was directly. And the 7th was the words of Allah which came to him without the intermediary of Angel Jibreel, the same way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to Musa, the son of Imran, alayhi assalam. This kind of revelation is absolutely confirmed in the case of Musa, alayhi salam, by the text of the Quran, and in the case of our Prophet, the hadith of the night journey. So just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to Musa alayhi salam, and we agree with that and believe in that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also spoke to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is in the story of the night journey. Now, so we're learning about, hope you don't veer off, because there's so many beautiful things we're learning here and so many different perspectives that we're gaining here. But we're talking about, our initial topic is Jibreel alayhi salam. Who is Jibreel alayhi salam? And as we know him to be the angel of revelation, we talked about his interaction with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We learned more from the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha, the description that she gave, and Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah has compiled it into 7 different types of revelations. Now let's go to the attributes of Jibreel alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in chapter 53 verse 1 to 6, by the stars when it plunges, your comrade is not astray, nor does he err, nor does he speak out of caprice. This is nothing but a revelation revealed, taught him by one great in power, endowed with strength. He stood poised. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking about who here? Jibreel alayhi salam. In chapter 81, verse 19 to 21, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, truly this is the word of a noble messenger, having power, secure with the Lord of the throne, obeyed, moreover, trustworthy. Not only is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about Jibreel alayhi salam, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is praising Jibreel alayhi salam. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah said, of these verses, Allah, glory be to him, has described his angelic messenger Jibreel alayhi salam in this surah as being noble, strong, secure with his Lord, obeyed in the heavens, and trustworthy. These 5 qualities contain testimony of the trustworthiness of the sanad, meaning the chain of the Quran, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard it from Jibreel alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is authenticating the chain of narration from Jibreel alayhi salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Many a times, and even for last night, the 15th of Sha'ban, people will have their views and opinions, and they'll say there's weak traditions. And I just want you all to clarify this and do attend Sheikh Arslan's class on Hadith 101 when he does it again. A hadith being what weak does not mean the hadith is not authentic. It means that in the chain of narrators, there's someone who did something that's contrary to the value system of Islam, even as simple as standing up and drinking, which I can say I've done in my life, could take away the legitimacy of that person being one who transmit the hadith. Very simple. And so the word of the Prophet ﷺ is strong. It's maybe that because of that chain, there is a question mark on its strength. But again, for Laylatul Bara'ah, which was last night, 17 Sahabas have related different narrations on this, which proves authenticity of the night. So do not feel that because there's a weak tradition, the night holds no value. No, the night held and does hold great value. But moving forward, people could say, okay, Allah gave it to Jibril, right? Allah said, here, take it. But Jibril could have forgotten something or left something behind. There could have even been a few grains of rice here and there that he forgot. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these two surahs, as he presents the words of praise towards Jibril, makes it very clear that the sanad, that not only does Allah trust him, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trusted and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has approved the process of how Jibril gave it to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this sanad should be enough for you in respect of sublimity and majesty. The first quality is that the messenger who brought it to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had nobility. Nobility refutes the words of his enemies about Shaitan being the one who brought it. Shaitan is a fool and repulsive, vile, ugly, and totally lacking in good. His inward is more uglier than his outward, and his outward is more evil than his inward. There is no good in him or with him. He is the furthest thing from nobility. The messenger who brought the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad was noble and was beautiful in appearance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes him in Surah Najm and endowed with strength. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh says that this means to have, where did the hadith go? Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh said that this means to have a beautiful appearance and radiant form, to be full of excellence, good and wholesomeness, teaching those who are good. Every good in the earth is from guidance, knowledge, and belief and piety. This is part of what his Lord makes happen at his hand. This is the utmost degree of nobility in form and meaning. Subhanallah. The description, remember, Allah said 5 qualities of Jibreel Islam, and here the scholars and here the Sahaba, Ibn Abbas radiallahu is describing the grandness of nobility, one of those 5 qualities. Let it be known that nobility is the highest peak, where Shaitan is the lowest. It's like the rock bottom. So if you understand the ugliness and evil and wickedness of the devil, the 100-degree, well, the 180-degree opposite of that is nobility. And nobility is not just piety and greatness or purity, it also denotes beauty and power and greatness. And so Jibril was the exact opposite of the devil in that. The second quality is power. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again says in Surah Najm, taught by one strong in power. And also it says terrible in power, meaning great in power. That calls our attention to several things. One of them is that by his strength, he prevents shaitans from coming near him. Now remember, strong in power means what? You have a delivery van bringing your mail. You see the mailman's car. It looks like a bumper car with a roof. To me, that's what it looks like, a bumper car with a roof, right? And then you look at a UPS van. It's like a bread delivery truck with brown paint. But then you look at those who transport money. You know, those companies that take money from stores and from the banks and they transport it to wherever it's going. It is strong, it is reinforced steel, it is bulletproof glass, and the people have guns. There's a whole system to it. Why? Because there is greater chance that someone's going to rob this than rob the mailman. And so for that, there needs to be strength and power exhibited and presented to protect that what these people are doing, which is of course transporting funds and money. If you understand that, and it only you could get more and more examples when someone important is going, there's people around them with guns. It's all about the importance of the package, right? Jibril alayhi salam had the most important package this world has ever seen, the Quran. His strength alone was all in one. He was his own secret service, he was his own satellite system, his own radar, he was his own lasers and missiles. He was everything in one. He was well equipped that no devil or any other creation can come and try to infiltrate or snatch some of the Quran, even if it was like 7 pages and someone snatched one. No, none of that happened. He was fully protected, fully ready for this. A second is that he is superior to the messenger whom they denied and is his assistant, friend, and helper. Whoever has this power, one as his friend, helper, aid, and teacher, is the assisted guide, and Allah is his guide and helper. Think about that. It's another way of looking at it is that he was powerful as the helper and teacher of the Prophet who was also helped and taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's double layers of security right there. Another angle of understanding it is that anyone who opposes this messenger also opposes his companion and friend Jibril alayhi salam, and whoever opposes someone with power and force exposes himself to destruction. So some people you can mess with, but then you can't mess with their security team, right? So you can maybe what you call break something in the store, and the shopkeeper may not be able to help you, but then the backup security or police officer, you can't do anything with them. قُلْ مَنْ كَانَ عَدُوًّا لِجِبْرِيلٍ. Whoever is an enemy of Jibreel. If you're an enemy of Rasulullah, then you're an enemy of Jibreel. And if you're an enemy of Jibreel, you've opened yourself up for destruction at his hands, because that's the power he has. Another, so we talked about that one. Yet another is that he is able to carry out what he is commanded to do on account of his power, and is not incapable of doing it and conveying his trust as he was commanded. He is a strong trustee. Case closed. Someone who is so strong, it's like a CEO of a company says, I'm leaving the work in your hand. Why? Because that CEO trusts that person. They believe that this person will not do the job, but will do the job so well that they can sleep at night. Allah has trusted Jibreel alayhi salam with the message to Rasulullah, which is the Quran, the word for the entire humanity, mankind, and jinn till the day of judgment. What else do you want to know about Jibreel alayhi salam? The third attribute Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used in the Quran is secure with the Lord of the throne, i.e., he has a position and standing with Allah as is the nearest angel to him. Meaning Allah, and he has great and he has a very good access to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His connection with Allah is strong. It is indicated by his words, with the throne of the Lord, indicating the high position of Jibril alayhi salam. Allah didn't say high with me, He said high with the throne of the Lord, meaning where Allah's throne is where Allah is. And Allah is by his throne always, and so Jibril alayhi salam is connected to Allah at that position always. The fourth attribute is in his word obeyed. This makes it clear that his troops and helpers obeyed him when he delegates them to help his companion and friend. So when Jibril came down and said, Allah sent salam, and this is the angel of the mountains, meaning when Jibril wants something, he snaps his finger, every angel listens to him. No one envies him, no one conspires against him, every angel follows him. It contains an indication that Jibril is obeyed in the heavens. Sorry, I'll say that again. It contains an indication that Jibril salam is obeyed in the heavens, and that both of the messengers are obeyed in their respective places and by their people. It also shows esteem for him, since he has the position of kings who are obeyed amongst their people. Allah did not appoint to this immense matter anyone other than someone who would be obeyed like a king. Allah gave Jibril this duty because Jibril is like a king and he is obeyed like a king. The fifth and final attribute for today, and inshallah we'll pause with this, And next week, inshallah, on Tuesday, we'll go into the enmity that the Jews had with Jibril alayhi salam. We learned that such a great prophet who communicated with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam but did not communicate with Musa alayhi salam. Is there something happening here? We're gonna find out more. Just hold your seats on this one. Inshallah, we're gonna find out why the Jews, and we're not talking about all Jews, the Jews at that time and the Jews who had power and the Jews who had influence at that time, they had harbored enmity and hatred towards Jibril alayhi salam. Why is that? We'll find that out next week, inshallah. But let's finish this afternoon, or this evening, I should say, with this final attribute that Allah described Jibril alayhi salam with, is that the trustworthy. Allah called him the trustworthy. His being described with trustworthiness contains an indication of the careful preservation of what he carried and of the fact that he conveyed it properly. So not only did Allah trust him, but being the trustworthy means he took the package, he made sure the package was properly taken and delivered. If a person gives you an egg that is so fragile, you bring the egg in the same form without it being cracked, dented, harmed in any way. The the trustworthiness goes to exhibit that he was so meticulous in caring for the message itself that he made sure that that also exhibited the reflection of who he was, a trustworthy person. So, with that, my brothers and sisters and fellow children, we will pause on another, mashallah, beautiful episode and intense. It's very intense when you learn about a creation that Allah has made incumbent for you to believe in and I to believe in, and we really never knew much about them. And I believe it's so important at this time for us to know these angels and what they're about, so that inshallah we can access the greatness that Allah has delivered through these angels, inshallah. So, with that being said, mashallah, this is our first time live streaming this class on Facebook. We've always been doing it on YouTube. For those of you who joined today and want to know more about angels and why we're discussing angels, please go over to our YouTube channel, which is Plano Masjid, and there you can access all of our previous episodes on the angels itself. So with that, Jazakumullah khairan to all of you for joining this afternoon. Wa alaikum salam from Akra Travels, California. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I pray you all are well in California, inshallah. May Allah protect you all and keep you all safe, and all of us, ameen ya rabbil alameen. Inshallah, we'll prepare for Asr prayer if you have not prayed, and inshallah, for those who are fasting, please make dua before the time of fast ends. And may Allah accept your ibadah, may Allah accept your worship and your prayers. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Take care, everyone, and inshallah, we'll see you tonight at 8:15. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.